Hello again and welcome to another video. During this video we're going to be working on oblique projection, and the exercises that we're going to be working on are located on page 12 and 13 on the Communicate Graphically booklet. Now let's start with page 12 first. Now what we're going to be basically doing in this exercise is to replicate the cabinet oblique projection that we have on the left to the empty workspace that we have on the right, always by using a ruler and pencil. Now to help you a little bit, on the empty workspace you have these starter lines. These starter lines represent this lower left corner of your oblique projection, as in the oblique projection that you're going to be replicating. So we're going to always be starting from those two starter lines. So let's start by drawing the baseline of this oblique projection cube. Now to know the length of a line, all you have to do is to count these 2D squares. So in this case, this baseline is 4 squares long. So let's start from this point, 1, 2, 3, 4. Make a point, draw a mark, and then draw a very light construction line. Make sure that at this point you only use construction lines. We're going to be darkening the lines later on. Now let's continue by drawing these vertical lines. Now each of these vertical lines are 4 squares long. Make a mark and then draw your very light construction line. Here during the video I'm going to be drawing much darker lines to show on screen. So once again, I've counted 4 squares, make a dot, and then draw my line. And now let's connect these two vertical lines together to create our green front face of our oblique cube. Now let's move on to drawing the 45-degree lines. Now, the 45-degree lines, since they are at an angle, okay, in this case the angle is 45 degrees, each of these lines is by half of the true length. If we were to draw these lines in the true length, okay, like for example, I would expect that this line to be 4 squares and not 2 squares long. But if we were to draw it in true length, then we would end up with a very distorted shape. And that is why we reduce the length by half. So always count the squares from the lower left corner to the upper right corner. In this case, each of these 45-degree lines are 2 squares from the lower left to the upper right. Okay, so there we go. 2 squares to the right. And again, 2 squares to the upper right. Now let's connect these lines that we have drawn. The horizontal and vertical lines are going to be always in their true lengths. The lines, unfortunately, which are at an angle, always have to be reduced by half. Now I have finished with my construction lines. Now let's darken the lines, okay, darken the outlines of this oblique projection to make our final shape show up. So let's go ahead and do that and go through each and every line, which obviously makes part of the final cube. Now I'm going to be shading the views of this cabinet oblique projection in the assigned colors. First, I'm going to be shading the front view in green, then the plan in red, and then the end view in blue. Make sure that while shading your shape, make sure that your strokes are all in one direction. If you're struggling in going outside the lines, then do like me and first draw or shade near the outline of your 3D shape, and then do the filling in later.